Hi, my name is Ella, and guess what time it is? It's cookie time! This year, I'm planning on selling 200 boxes or more. Please help supporting my troop by buying 1 boxes or maybe even 2 if you want to. My troop is planning on going on an exciting trip and helping my community. Please help support me by buying 1 box or more. Bye!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for January 26, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Sunday edition, a game day NFC Championship game Sunday edition, our second NFC Championship game day edition in 2 years here at This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm pumped. So we're going to get the housekeeping, the other stuff out of the way, and save the Eagles for last. As Ella said, buy the Girl Scout cookies. It's NFC Championship Day. Why not celebrate by buying some Girl Scout cookies? You're going to buy them anyway. Go support Ella. All the information you need is in the description. Be sure to celebrate. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. All of that good stuff. Let's outsmart the algorithm as we continue to grow. Go check out our boys at the On Pattison newsletter. We're featured in there a couple times a week. They have great Philly sports coverage delivered right to your inbox every day. So go check them out. They're doing a great job over there. Let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. And I asked you, based on the game against the Cavs when the Sixers actually took down the number 1 seed in the East, does it change how you view the Sixers? 100% of you said no. And I should have probably worded this question a little differently, because it's not as though I feel that they can compete. It changed the way I view them as more of a frustration thing. But thank you as always for participating in the question of the day. It's game day. You know what today's question is already going to be. But it does. It's very frustrating with that team. And they go out. They beat the Bulls 109-97 last night. Paul George was decent in the first half. Got hurt. Shocker there. Jammed his pinky, I think, or something. He's going to have an MRI or X-rays, or who cares? I mean, at this point, they're going to screw around. They're going to get not in the play-in tournament. They're going to get the 7th pick in the draft and lose their first-round pick. So it's going to end up being a wasted season. I can already see how this is going to play out. Maxey was good last night, though, 31 points. They've now won 2 in a row. But that's enough Sixers talk, because I'm not letting them ruin the Sunday vibe we got going on here for the NFC Championship game. So be sure to check out my boys at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Great things happening at their Sports Fan Network. That is available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And then Philly Goat, as seen on TV. Philly Goat. Go check out their wide selection of Eagles gear. I was at my son's basketball game. I saw the coach against the team he was playing had the touchdown Saquon Barkley, like the Tecmo Super Bowl version, with him spiking the ball. It was incredible. When they win today, I'm probably going to buy one. Just kind of throwing that out there. But go check it out for yourself. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All kinds of great Eagles gear to get you ready for this impending Super Bowl Sunday coming up in a couple of weeks. Don't want to give away my pick yet, but go to Philly Goat, as seen on TV, and use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, today, we're going to go back to 1975. And on this day in 1975, history was made at Cole Fieldhouse on the University of Maryland's campus in front of 4,188 fans. The Immaculata Mighty Macs beat the University of Maryland 80-48 that day. Freshman guard Helen Caruso had 19 points. And ordinarily, this wouldn't be a big deal. Probably not something. This is way too obscure probably for this podcast. However, a whole lot more than those 4,000 fans saw this game, as this was the first nationally televised women's college basketball game ever. It was broadcast on the Ms. Lou network and was broadcast in 28 major markets, including Philadelphia, for the three-time AIAW champions, three-time defending, I should say. This was huge TV exposure. Little Immaculata out there in Chester County was the king, or I should say the queen, of women's college basketball at the time. So for them to get that national exposure was huge. However, it was not without controversy. With 1:38 to play, the Ms. Lou network pulled the broadcast. They just stopped. I guess the game was running long on time. And back then, if you remember the Heidi Bowl, I forget who even played in that. Like, they stopped an NFL playoff game to show Heidi because they ran long. And now they kind of do that, you see, at the conclusion of this game. But back then, they had hard stops. So with 1:38 to play, they pulled the coverage to show a panel discussion of food, crises, and the churches. No idea, but doesn't sound as exciting as the Mighty Macs versus the University of Maryland. Legendary Immaculata coach Kathy Rush was upset at her team, thought they played sloppy due to the cameras, but did admit to being nervous herself, along with many of the players who were interviewed. But history was made. This was groundbreaking. The first ever women's basketball game shown on a national broadcast happened on this day back in 1975. Immaculata beating the University of Maryland 80-48. Really, really cool experience. It was shown, I believe, on KYW, which I think at the time in the 70s was Channel 10. Or no, I guess it was Channel 3. It still is Channel 3. Sorry about that. But it was shown on Channel 3, and I guess they got a ton of calls saying, why are you cutting the game off? Why are you cutting the game off? So a lot more fans were able to see the game than the 4,000 that were at Cole Fieldhouse. Pretty cool moment for the Mighty Macs. All right. Today, we're going to continue our forgiveness, and this one is another one of those tough ones for me. I know there are people in the fan base that have already forgiven this guy, but I have not yet, but I am prepared to do that today. Today, we're going to forgive Carson Wentz. And with Carson Wentz, what started out so promising ended up so bad. So bad. We know the story. He's the number 2 pick. Howie Roseman pulled his black magic to move up to draft Wentz. He was the MVP until he got hurt in 2017. Nick Foles came in. Carson got all in his feelings. Then he was inconsistent throughout the next couple years in Philly. Dougie P had had enough. They didn't get along. And what we didn't know that we do know now was that part of those struggles was because Carson, according to Darren Sproles, made the coaches implement an entirely new playbook because he wanted to run different plays than Nick Foles, because Nick Foles won the Super Bowl with those plays. Even though he was the MVP with those, there was a lot of jealousy of Nick Foles. He was scared of the competition from Jalen Hurts, and I know that's strong, but there's no other way to describe it. It's just he was scared of the competition. Jadeveon Clowney, we talked about him yesterday, broke him in that the wild card game against the Seahawks. But, and I'm getting all angry. I got angry typing out and writing out my notes yesterday. I'm getting angry talking about it. But on NFC Championship Game Sunday, we need to forgive here to have some of that good karma and release that negativity, because I'm holding on to that Carson Wentz negativity. And in a lot of cases, I feel the negativity I have for Carson Wentz is worse than what I had for Ben Simmons. And we forgave Ben Simmons. So I know some of you have already forgiven Carson Wentz, but I have not, and I am officially prepared to do that right now. I forgive him for being jealous of Nick Foles. I forgive him for being jealous of Jalen Hurts. I forgive him for being stubborn and petty and not wanting to run the same plays that worked, that made him an MVP candidate, because Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. I forgive him for pouting on stage and in the locker room when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. I think for him, he was used to being the big fish in the small pond, and that's not the case in Philadelphia as the quarterback of the Eagles. And I will say this. The truth of the matter is, a lot of people don't share this sentiment, But as great as Nick Foles was during that postseason run to the Super Bowl, we don't win the Super Bowl in 2017 without Carson Wentz. Now, you can make the argument that we don't win the Super Bowl if Carson Wentz is the quarterback. That's not what this is. This is forgiving Carson Wentz. And truth of the matter is, we don't win that Super Bowl without him leading us, 13-1 or 12-1 before he got hurt. We don't win it without him. So, Carson, I forgive you. And as I've been saying all month, forgiveness isn't easy, but it's necessary. I feel better. I feel like the weight has been lifted off of my shoulder. The karma, I can already feel the good vibes filling my soul on this NFC Championship game Sunday. And Carson, who knows? Maybe we'll see you in 2 weeks. But until then, I forgive you. All right. It is Eagles NFC Championship game Sunday. The spread, as of recording time, is still Eagles -6. Let's get into some news first because Kellen Moore apparently will have a second interview next week, no matter what. But if the Eagles win, that's huge because of the whole, if we go back to our PTSD with Jonathan Gannon, who we did forgive, but we'll have a second interview with the Saints. And although I don't know what's going to come of it because there's all kinds of big names that are still out there. Mike McCarthy is coming in for an interview. There's a lot of other guys interviewing for that position. So whether or not Kellen gets it, I figured that was worth noting, especially with a Super Bowl looming on the horizon. For Washington, big injury news. Darren Payne is out. So that now means they're missing a very key offensive lineman, very key defensive lineman, which does bode well for both the Eagles' offensive and defensive lines, which is key for the keys to the game, which I'll get into here in a minute. But it comes down to this now. It is the NFC Championship game, second time we've been here in 3 years. This crowd is going to be insane, especially with the aforementioned Nick Foles as the honorary captain. I mentioned this the other day, but this is the right move for the Eagles. I know there was a lot of people mentioning Kelsey, but Kelsey has been so saturated in our airwaves that, like I said, I feel no disrespect to Jason Kelsey whatsoever. Go get yours, man. But I feel like at this point in time, he's jumped the shark. I don't think you're going to get the same reaction out of him as you will Nick Foles. I think they also need to bring Brian Dawkins into the locker room and have him do that hype video speech in person because, as I mentioned, I watched it 3 more times yesterday. Almost ran through every single wall in my house. Like they need to do that. But I think everybody's going to be fired up. I was watching the news this morning. People were already lined up at 6 a.m. Man, got to keep my emotions in check. But what are the 3 keys to the game? And again, KeyBank, car dealership, Victory Brewing, whatever you want. 3 keys to an Eagles victory. And I teased this somewhat earlier in this week. Impose your will. The Eagles are the superior team. They are better in almost every position on the field. And the blueprint from 2004 is there. We talked about it the other day. It wasn't pretty, but it was methodical. They methodically just beat down the Falcons that day. And this game doesn't need to be pretty. Just impose your will. You are the better team. You don't have any weather, anything like that to factor into it. So methodically just beat them down. And the similarities between that 2004 championship game and this one are very, very eerily similar. You have a young quarterback whose future would be bright, who coming off a huge win in the divisional round. If you remember, I believe it was the Packers, the Falcons beat heading into the NFC Championship game, beat them pretty bad with Brett Favre. You just got to go beat up the Commanders on both sides of the ball. And, I mean, I think it's as simple as it sounds. Just beat them up. You're bigger. You're more physical. Just impose your will. You're the better team. Just play like the better team. And don't worry about style points or anything like that. Just come out of there with the W. And then we got a couple weeks to focus on whoever we're going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Second key to the game, and this is probably not going to be a shocker to anybody here. I've been saying it almost all year. Do your job on defense. Contain Jaden. They've done a good job of that in both of the matchups so far. The first one, he was a little banged up. But the second one, other than like a 50-yard run, they really held him in check on his running. I don't think there's any need to blitz. Jaden has very good numbers against the blitz. So you have great players, a lot of speed on that defense. No need to blitz. Let your big guys up front eat up blockers, get in there and disrupt. And then Zach Bond and Oren Burks or Jeremiah Trotter Jr., whoever, just tackle and wrap up. I think that's the key. You cannot miss tackles in a game like this that figures to be somewhat close. You cannot do it. Jalen Carter, I need you to turn up the level of beast mode. And I know that's crazy to think of the way you've been playing, but I don't think we've seen the best of Jalen Carter yet. And I think it comes down to who wants it more. And those young guys on that defense are playing like they want it. So wrap up, make your tackles, stay in your lane, use the crowd to your advantage. The crowd is going to be fired up. I mean, like I said, there's people down there that have been lined up likely since late last night. So they're going to be fired up. Play smart, be disciplined, and don't let them get in your head. We don't need a repeat with CJGJ of what happened in the last matchup. I think he knows that. I think the Eagles know that. Jalen Carter, keep your emotions in check. It's hard, but channel those emotions to being physical and doing your job, and you'll be fine. Final key on offense, take what they give you. If they're going to load the box, hit Goddard over the middle. Jalen, make smart, quick throws. I have a feeling, and I don't know which one, could be both, which would be great. I have a feeling AJ or Devontae is going to catch a bomb and take what they give you, and I think that's going to completely throw off the Washington defense, especially with Payne being out. That is huge. Impose your will. Take what they give you. And honestly, Jalen, he does a good job with this. Shut out the noise. Shut out the noise. Play your game. I don't care if you throw for 350 yards or 50 yards. If you do what we need you to do and the Eagles win, I will take it. Again, at this point, it does not matter. Style points, this isn't the NCAA. It doesn't matter what it looks like. As Al Davis used to say, just win, baby. Saquon, this is what you signed up for. This is why you signed here. Just be you. Go out there and do what you've done all year. I really feel like the blueprint this season, I could go without the slow starts, but slow starts, big second quarter, wear them out in the second half. Saquon pops a big run, and we're popping bottles of champagne. But just take what they give you. And if that is Jalen throwing for 300 yards, take it. If it's Saquon running for 300 yards, take it. I don't care. Just take what they give you. And Jake, I'm going to support you. And this is sort of a bonus forgiveness. I forgive you for the missed extra points. All of that is washed away. We are starting fresh today. So, Jake, if it comes down to you, kick the ball. All right. I got a bonus key to the game. And I think this is important because you're the favorite in this. You are the 6-point favorites at home. The pressure is on you. But is it? I need you to be aggressive. Treat this like a Game 7 in Major League Baseball. Do whatever is necessary. They're going to be aggressive, but be smart. Aggressively smart. And they're going to go for fourth down. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now, and my brother's probably sick of me saying it in the stands. But if there's a trick play in the playbook, like a fake field goal, a fake punt, and the situation calls for it, why not pull it out now? Treat it as a Game 7 when you got your ace coming out of the bullpen. Whatever you need to do to win this game. Then you got 2 weeks off to rest. So if guys are tired, whatever. I've said it 1,000 times already this podcast. Style points don't matter. It doesn't matter how it looks. This team, to me, embodies a combination. They take some of the things from the 04 team, the 2017 team, the 2022 team. 04, they were the better team, methodically beat down the Falcons. In 17, There were questions about the quarterback play heading into the NFC Championship game. Lots of doubters. That was the whole underdog thing. Nick Foles is going to be in the house, so use that BDN energy. Come on. Use that Nick Foles BDN energy to lead the way to victory. And in 2022, you're playing a rookie quarterback, and we all know that we've heard the stat 1,000 times this week. No rookie quarterback has led their team to the Super Bowl. There's a good portion of this team that played on that 2022 team. So just let's keep it rolling. All right, so where are we going with the pick? I've been pretty split all year with my pick between if I pick them to cover and they cover, pick them to not cover and they cover. So I was trying to think of that and you do some reverse psychology and everything. Not doing that today. I spent way more time researching this than I have the entire year on any game. And truthfully, I was looking for ways to pick Washington. Like I literally was looking for ways that Washington could beat the Eagles. And I can't find a way. I cannot find a way that the Eagles don't win this game. To me, the only thing that can take down the Eagles today, and this is one of my favorite phrases we use on this podcast, is a cacophony of ridiculousness. And that is the only way the Eagles will lose this game. And in that last game, we had a cacophony of ridiculous. You had your starting quarterback go down. You had one of your best players on defense get ejected for being punched in the face. Like, you had the number one defense in the league completely shit the bed in the fourth quarter. All of that, and it still took our sure-handed receiver dropping an easy pass that would have sealed the game for Washington to beat us. NFC Championship game a few weeks later, I cannot see a legitimate way that this team comes out and all of those things happen that happened in that last game against Washington. I really, like, everybody keeps saying this game is close. It's a divisional matchup. They've seen you 3 times. Yeah, but Vic Fangio has also seen Jaden Daniels now twice. He's watched the film. He knows what to do. He's done it all year. This has at least a 7 to 10 point vibe on it for me. I can't pick against the Eagles here. I really, really cannot see a way that the Eagles come out flat in this game. Sirianni has done a great job all year getting this team ready. He's kept their emotions in check for the most part. Like, it's going to take a cacophony of ridiculousness for the Eagles to lose this game and not cover. We're going, give me Eagles -6. We'll see you in New Orleans. I got chills just saying that. But I really don't. And like I said, I've tried so hard to look at this objectively and look at possible paths of victory for the Commanders. And truthfully, it takes so much to go wrong for the Eagles for Washington to win this game. There's no way. Because they should have won that game where everything did go wrong. There's no doubt in my mind, that the Eagles are going to win this game, and there's no way. And I could be eating my words tomorrow, and if I am, I am. But I can't see all of that stuff just lining up, especially at home, especially after you were picked to lose to the Packers, after you were picked to lose to the Rams in the snow. You're going to have the NFC Championship game at home and lose? What is this, the Andy Reid era? Let's go Birds. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! All right, we will recap this game tomorrow. Go Birds. Can it just be game time? Can it just be game time? All right, so we said impose your will, do your job, take what they give you, and be aggressively smart. All of that happens. Eagles win this game going away, and we're going to the Super Bowl. I even forgave Carson Wentz today. I'm trying to do whatever I can to bring the good vibes to them. And I feel all of the good aura. And I don't know if I've seen some flashes of lights in the camera, and I don't know if they came through on the camera. I don't know if it's like family members saying, yes, the Eagles are going to win. I don't know. But, whoo-wee. On this day in 1975, Immaculata beat the University of Maryland 80-48 at Cole Fieldhouse in the first ever televised women's basketball game. But it wasn't without controversy. They cut the feed off at 1:38 left to go in the game. But still an awesome moment for the Immaculata Mighty Macs. And truthfully, the history and future of women's basketball. Here we go. It's NFC Championship game. Let's do it. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for January 26, 2025. Go have yourselves a Sunday. And until next time, go Birds.